video. So I didn't expect myself to actually do an animation video this soon. But I mean, the last one did really well, and this video was actually requested by someone. So, I decided, let's give the people what they want. I mean, I did say, give me video ideas. And they told me to watch this video. So I really want to get into the video. It is a really interesting title. I was in a coma and I heard everything. And I think you do hear everything when you're in a coma. Or do you not? Because I've seen that somewhere else as well. But guys, I think this video looks really good and I cannot wait to just get straight in. So thank you for the video suggestion. Let's go!
Hi there, I'm Aria.
Yo.
Imagine yourself not being able to say, I'm hungry, I'm hurting, thank you, I love you. Imagine yourself being
I
imprisoned
don't
inside
want
a
to
body,
imagine myself
a body
like
which
that.
doesn't
Must be
obey your
terrible.
orders at all. People are all around you, yet you feel alone. It wouldn't be easy, would it? Well, I lived for years feeling this way. Years of wishing for the ability to connect, to express, to share with others. Maybe you're wondering about the reason? Well, it was that I fell off the tree. I was my mom and dad's only child.
Fell off a
We were
tree.
middle-class
I've fallen off a
family,
tree
and we
before,
lived
but I
in
was
a small
completely
house
fine.
with a
Okay, I
stunning
kind
backyard,
of jumped
which had
off
an
the
old
tree.
oak tree that was
Yeah,
said
there's
to
a
be
whole
even
story
older
behind
than my
that.
grandparents.
Well, it's not much of a
When my dad
story.
first bought the house, he found a tree house in the oak tree built by the kids
So
who
this
lived
is
in
the
the house
evil
before
tree.
us. After a lot of convincing,
So
my
I
father
ignore
agreed
the
to fix the
suggested
tree
video.
house. He even made a wooden ladder
That
so I
was
could climb into the
interesting.
tree
The
easily.
title.
I remember helping my dad decorate its walls with posters and photos of my favorite band. For a second, you might be thinking, what a sweet family. But no, this wasn't the case exactly.
Of course not.
You see, my mom was a moody woman who yelled a lot, and nothing me or my dad did could please her. She would spend the whole night smoking cigarettes in front of the TV and then sleep the whole day. As for my dad, he spent his time working so he could pay the bills and buy us food. And me?
Well, at least the
after I
dad's
got home
good.
from school,
One
there
good
was
parent.
nothing for me to do
Oh my
but go
god,
and play
another
with my dolls in
suggested
the
video.
treehouse. For my 13th birthday,
Oh, that's
my dad bought
interesting.
me the
Yeah,
best
anyways.
gift ever. He bought me a little
I
white
swear
puppy
there's
that
a
was super
movie
fluffy.
where there's a
I
dog
called him
called
Snowball.
Snowball. I swear
Perhaps this
Snowball's such a
dog would
classic
keep me
name,
company
like
so I wouldn't be
naming
so
dogs like
alone.
that.
I loved
I swear I
Snowball, and I
can't think
taught
of the
him
movie
lots of
though,
tricks.
but I
We used
swear
to
there
spend
was.
all day together in
Like,
the
comment down below if you
treehouse.
know.
We would only go home to eat dinner. That way, we steered clear of my mom's yelling and her long fights with my dad. I watched the sky a lot during my days in the treehouse. Back then, my dad only came home after the sun had set,
Give the
so I'd
poor
watch
man a
the stars
break.
lighting up the sky. They looked amazing. I knew that those stars were nothing but meteors traveling fast through the sky as they burned, but everything my dad told me about them made them seem magical. One time, I was watching the sky with Snowball, waiting for my dad to return home. When he arrived, he climbed up and sat beside me. He said, "This falling star is a wish that just came true for someone out there in the world." "A wish?" I said. He explained a long time ago there was a poor man praying to the gods every day. However, the gods were always busy, so they didn't answer him. One day, he screamed so loudly the mountains shook. The gods looked at him and listened to his troubles. They became so sad and cried burning stars. So this way, whenever he saw a falling star in the sky, he'd make a wish and the gods would make them come true. "But can this be possible?" I asked. And he replied, "Legends are a beautiful thing to hear, but not to believe." "If the legends are so old, how can we know if they are true or not?" I asked. He just smiled at me and said it was time to head back into the house. On that same night, while I was lying in bed hugging Snowball, it started to feel like my life was falling apart. My mom was screaming hysterically at my dad, telling him that the money he was bringing in was no longer enough, and that he should start searching
He
for an
works
extra
so
job.
much, he
She
can't
said
have
that
a
she could no
second job. There's
longer
no
go
time
out with
for
her
that.
friends because she was so
Man, you need
embarrassed.
to divorce
She
her.
couldn't afford to buy new dresses every time they went out like her friends did. I saw Snowball looking at me as if he wanted to say, "What a silly woman." The fighting and loud screaming continued for a long time until I could no longer bear it. I snuck out of the window and headed towards the dark oak tree in the backyard. Everything around me was dark. Behind me walked
Oh
Snowball.
no, this is
We
the
crept
point where
very
she
quietly
falls.
so no one would hear us, and then we arrived at the treehouse. It was pitch black, so I missed a step on the ladder, and
Oh
then my leg
no.
slipped. The last thing I remembered from that day was that after I fell hard on the ground, everything around me turned fuzzy. Snowball sounded far away even though I could see him jumping around me. Then I wasn't able to feel anything. After a little while, I felt myself waking up. My head hurt and I couldn't feel any part of my body. I'd completely lost control over my body parts. Even my eyes, I couldn't open them. I could feel the light around me, but it was too difficult to open my eyes. Oh my, what happened to me? Was I stuck in my sleep? Or was it worse than that? Had I died? I didn't know much about death except that after death, a
Wait,
person
who told you
drowns in
that? I didn't know
darkness.
that.
But
I
this
heard that you're in
darkness I
like a
felt was
waiting room or
different,
something. I don't even
completely
know.
different. I
I'm
could
just gonna
feel
find
my
out.
body
Well, I don't want to
freezing.
find out.
Suddenly I heard someone. If I was able to hear him, that means I wasn't dead. Thank God. From his tone of voice, I gathered he was a doctor speaking to my parents. He said, "The damage she suffered to her head due to the fall has
It
resulted in
looks like her
severe
dad's the only one
internal
that cares, and
bleeding in
mom's
her
just
brain, which is
angry.
preventing enough oxygen from reaching her body, resulting in a coma." But I wasn't in a coma. I was there with them.
You
I heard
are
my
in a
dad
coma though.
crying and my mom inquiring about the treatment fees. I wanted
Her
to
mom, I
scream,
swear
call
all she
out for
cares
them,
about is
to say
money.
something, anything. But I wasn't able to even talk at that time. Suddenly,
She
I
compares
was just
herself to a vegetable. Oh,
unable
why
to
did she
do
pick broccoli
anything
for
or
like?
listen.
Broccoli's
Most
like
people don't think
horrible.
twice before talking or connecting with others. They do it automatically. But I had absolutely no way of speaking to anyone. For the last 13 years, I had been a normal girl. A girl who loved her dad, her dog, and who loved to
Notice
play.
how she
I was
didn't say
happy
her
and
mom.
healthy. But now, suddenly, that had all changed. The doctors didn't know what to do. They thought I was completely in a coma, but they always treated me nicely. All the time I spent in the hospital, I only heard my dad's voice. My mom had completely
Her mom doesn't
vanished.
even
I
care.
didn't know where she was, and I didn't hear anything related to her. Until the day the doctor said there is nothing more they can do, and that it is best for me to return to my parents' home. I heard my mom arguing with my dad. She didn't want me back home. I was,
Okay, I
according
honestly
to her,
hate her
a
mom right
burden
now.
that she
How
didn't want
could
to
she?
carry. But I went home anyway. I was happy because I was returning home. I heard my dad telling my mom that he finished the treehouse because that was the last thing I asked him to do. That's why he insisted on bringing me back home, so I could be near the things I loved. However, things went downhill from there. I lost my ability to move. I failed all the mind exams they conducted on me in the hospital, so the doctors told my parents they could treat me as if I didn't exist. My return home was just a hopeless attempt at keeping my unconscious body comfortable until I died. My dad tried his hardest to keep me comfortable, and that
Oh my
really
god,
annoyed my mom. Their
the
friends stopped
mom.
visiting after a while, and the money dad was providing was no longer enough. Machines that were keeping me alive were too expensive. Before, I was able to escape my mom screaming and ranting, but today I was stuck with it without them even knowing that I could hear them. The whole thing felt like a nightmare. When my dad first got me Snowball, I thought that he was very smart and could just understand me without even having to talk to him.
Okay, but can I
my dad
just
used to
say I
laugh
am
and say,
loving the
"Dogs are
haircut.
about as smart as a 3-year-old. They can feel when you're happy, sad, or scared, but they can't read your mind." Deep down, though, I knew Snowball was no ordinary dog. He was special enough to be able to read my thoughts because we had this insane bond. Every time my parents started their screaming matches, I'd hear Snowball sitting beside me and barking in a low voice, as if to tell me that everything would be all right. I was sure that Snowball knew I was a prisoner in my body, unlike what everyone else believed. He never left my side. His breathing was my only comfort. For a while, I used to be entertained by my father when he entered my room at night and started moving my body left and right to help my blood circulate. Once he was done, he'd sit beside me and talk with me for an hour or so about his day, like he used to before. But that didn't last for long. The last talk he had with me was about how tired he was, both physically and mentally, that he was very upset he'd lost his little girl, the only person in the whole world who used to listen to him. That day, I heard him sobbing so loudly. Then he suddenly said, "I can no longer bear to look at you like this anymore." After that, he
So
stopped talking
sad.
to me altogether. A year quickly turned into 2, and I felt the person I used to be disappearing. Not just her body, but also her memories. My mom said that she'd had enough with my stuff taking up so much room, and that she could put the space to good
I
use.
just want
My
to
dad
slap
wasn't
this woman
able to
across the
refuse,
face.
so he just said that he'd move my things to the treehouse. It wasn't long until I was moved out of my room to another one that was more practical and way smaller. It had barely enough room for my bed, machines, and for one person to be able to move around in. That was enough for me, according to my mom. What
Her
was
mom
worse was
is
that this
so
little room
selfish.
was next to the living room. That meant that I could hear everything. I mean, literally down to the tiniest details. 2 years turned to 3, and I was still in the same place with no one aware of my existence. It was like I was a ghost. Whenever my mom's friends came to
Also, she
visit,
has
they used to
friends. They
ignore
look
me, as if
evil.
I was just part of the furniture. I was dead to everyone, just
Oh,
not
so
in the
that's how you
world.
spell hers.
Only
I thought it was
still bothered everyone.
Aria.
My mom and her friends' conversations were ridiculous. They gossiped a lot and couldn't stop judging their relatives. Sometimes they talked about clothes,
I'm beginning
travel,
to
or their
understand how
husbands.
this
I
woman
once
has
heard my mom
friends.
talking to
Just as
about
evil
my
as her.
dad. She said he was the reason behind her unhappiness and that she had met some rich guy at a coffee
Oh
shop.
my
The
god,
guy
is
had
she
invested
serious?
her
But I
money
mean, I'm
and
not
she'd gone to
surprised
meet
from her.
him. And now she was seriously considering leaving me and my dad. For me,
What
that
a
was the
woman.
worst part
But
of
I
those
mean, she
3
can go
years.
because
Feeling
I don't
totally
think
powerless and not being able
that
to
they
stand
want
in
her
front of
anyway.
him and not being able to scream, "You're an ungrateful woman. All the things dad did for you, and yet it's never enough. Now you want to leave him because some
Wow,
other
you
guy
said
has
it.
more money?" My poor dad didn't deserve my mom, or even me. I found myself in utter darkness, and the darkness was swallowing my dad up whole. I couldn't remember much about my life before the fall. I was so terrified I'd forget everything. I remembered having a friend called Maisie, but I couldn't remember what we used to do or how we would spend time together. I remember loving science, but I no longer remembered any of the stuff that we'd learned at school. At the same time, my mind clung onto those memories, and at the same time, started creating new ones that hadn't existed before. I had to find a way to stay here, in this world, even if I had to create my own world inside my head. Maisie became my best friend. She always visited on Sunday.
Oh, I wanted to watch that. Guys, I would watch part 2, but we don't want to make this video too long, so I'm gonna make a separate part 2 video, just like they made a separate video. So hit your post notifications to get that. Yeah, it says over there as well. Perfect. And yeah, like this video, But I'm gonna do a part 2, definitely, because I want to know what happens next. So. But anyways, guys, that's gonna do it for today's video. This was a really sad story, low-key. But we can find out what happens next. It should end happily, like the other one. But yeah, this video was requested, so good suggestion. And thank you guys so much for watching. Do the on-screen instructions, like, comment, subscribe, just smash the like button, subscribe, post notifications, so then you know when part 2 comes up, because I don't know about you guys, but when I watch something, I want to finish it, so I don't know. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!